Hello, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am working on 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life Series 16. Today is day number 6, and our sketch was created by Kim Johnson Martin. This is a really fun sketch. I am going to be changing it up just a little tiny bit. I'm going to try to get photo positioning the same, and we'll see how it goes from there. So what I am using today is 49 Market's Art Options Viken is what I'm going to go with, is how that's pronounced. And I'm going to be using some photos taken on my cruise from this past February. These photos are taken with my sister, and they were from a formal night. So, initially I had to ask some friends, like, do you have any collection ideas for me for these photos? So I was really struggling. And the only thing I could come up with initially was I have this collection from 49 Market called Serenity. And I pulled out this bag of chipboard pieces just in case I need some other of the dark blue in these photos. I don't know that I'm going to actually open that. We'll see. But when I pulled that out, I happened to see this. Now, I was thrown by the green in the photo. And as you can see, that's the background lighting in all of these photos. And it was very, very windy that evening. So my hair is getting blown all over the place in these photos. And that's okay. My hair didn't look my favorite that night anyway. So, but this green was really throwing me off. Not that it clashed with what we were wearing or anything. I was trying to think of something to use with it. And when I was looking in my 49 Market bin for stuff, I saw this and I'm like, oh my gosh, all of the colors are in here. Well, except for black. My sister is wearing black. Now, the reason I thought of the Serenity collection is because that happens to be my sister's name. And I bought this collection because it was my sister's name initially. That, and because it's a lot of beautiful blues, and blue is my favorite color. But I thought, you know, it'd be pretty ironic if I used that collection for these photos. And so maybe they'll make it on another layout with the two of us from the cruise or elsewhere. But I have made the decision to use this collection because it brings out just about all of the colors. My dress is actually navy blue with silver glittery sparkles, and hers is black with silver sparkles on it. Super cute. We looked adorable that night. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to get started with this, and I'll be right back. All right, as I get started, the very first thing I'm going to do is I am going to cut down this piece of paper. It's got the green in it, and I'm going to use it for a mat because I'm going to be making a grid of photos on that left-hand side. I know that the sketch only showed one photo, but I am going to put 3 over there. So my mat is 6 1/4 by 8 1/4 inches, and I am going to go ahead and scuff up the edges with my Tim Holtz Distress tool. Now, about this piece of paper, I was trying to not use it because it's pretty on the other side. It's a floral print, but then once I got this piece cut, I realized I still had enough to put on the right hand side. Now, another fun fact about the base paper that I'm using on the right hand side, I was saving that piece of paper for something special because it's got a beautiful wreath on the back side, on the A side. And unfortunately, the side that I'm using is what matches the base paper that I'm using for the left side the best out of what I had left in the collection. So I'm like, all right, you don't need to save all the papers. You've got lots of other wreath papers and lots of other collections that you can play with. So let's use this and get this into an album because it works well with this set of photos. So I am putting more photos on this layout than what the sketch shows. Initially, that wasn't my intention. Initially, I only printed 3. But then as I was looking at the orientation, I realized I could change up things because my photo that I'm using on the left side, the large one, is not portrait orientation, it's landscape. And that would have left quite a bit of dead space back there. So I went ahead and printed 2 more photos. And while I was at it, I printed another set of 2 because I figured I could just change up the right-hand side as well. So on the sketch, she has some paper layered behind her photo mats, and in place of that, I'm going to be using these 2 frames from this collection. I think one of them I actually cut from the product packaging, and then the other one was in the laser die cuts. And so I am just going to use that as if it is a piece of pattern paper. Now, I thought at first I was going to go ahead and keep it all straight, but I do end up making it wonky on that left side just like it is on the sketch, and I really like how that turned out. Now off camera, when I shut the camera off to restart, I went ahead and I went through all of the embellishments and just started pulling out things that I thought that I would use. And I did a really good job because I think I used almost everything that I pulled out. I have a couple of phrases that I'm putting on the left side. One says favorite photograph, and that top photo is actually my favorite one from that photo session. And then I put a phrase that says so beautiful underneath that. Then I tucked some leafy bits around it, and I even pulled out a piece of that chipboard from that Serenity collection. So I thought that I did a fairly good job with, getting the embellishments that I was going to use. So on the right hand side, there was a piece of pattern paper or paper, whatever, you could use cardstock, along the bottom. Now on the sketch, it was butted up all the way to the very bottom, and I'm going to leave a little bit of the background paper peeking below. So I think it's about ½ an inch or so that I'm going to leave below it. And it will end up being kind of an anchor point for the photos that I'm going to put on the right hand side. Now my right hand side is not going to look much like the sketch because I'm using more photos, and I didn't make them wonky like they are in the sketch, which would have looked really great. But again, I was trying to get as many photos on this layout as I possibly could. I could have stopped with these 2 photos, the 2 4x6 photos, but because there were so many photos in this photo shoot, and I wanted to print them all, I just went ahead and did that. It made it very easy to get a lot of photos on this layout. I decided not to mat the photos on the right hand side, and instead I'm scuffing up the edges to expose that white core. There's a couple of reasons why I decided not to mat. One, I did not have another sheet of paper that was the same color of matte that I used on the left hand side. And even if I hadn't used part of it for the anchor point, the floral bit that I put down, I still wouldn't have had enough to go ahead and mat all 4 photos. I might have gotten one of the 4x6s and both of the 3x4s if I was lucky and was positioning everything on there correctly. My goal has not been to rebuy this collection, but instead I want to make sure that I use it all up because honestly I have quite a bit of new 49er Market that I can't put away because it won't fit in my little folder box that I keep my 49er Market in. First world problems. So I'm kind of trying to clean up the mess I made by scuffing up my photos and some of the paper. And now I'm going to just reposition everything, shake off that right-hand base page, and reposition my photos back on here. Now, again, my photos for the right-hand side do not match up with the sketch much at all. The only thing that I really took from the right-hand side is that border, which I said a second ago that I had moved up about a half an inch from the bottom. Actually, it's more like an inch from the bottom, but I'm kind of using it as an anchor point. And honestly, I had intended on putting a title on that side, but instead I put the title over on the left page, and I'm just going to go with that. And I ended up not using the thickers that I had pulled out at the beginning. I showed you a set of silver thickers. I was going to use those as my title, and I end up not using them at all. Everything on here is 49 Market product, and I'm quite happy with how everything has laid out so far. So while I'm not actually using any paper to mat my photos, I am layering things up behind them. On the photo of myself on the right hand side, of course, you saw that I put a window there. I'm also going to tuck this tag here, and that is going to be where I'm going to journal. There will be some leafy bits going on there in a second. I'm trying to make these pieces here. These are chipboard from the Serenity set, but I love what they say, and they worked very well with this collection despite being a lighter navy-ish color. And I'm going to be taking these little tickets, and I'm going to tuck 3 of them under that lower left-hand photo there. And I have, not really sure what you would call it. It kind of looks like fibers on that left-hand top left photo. It's from the laser die cut pack, but I'm using it as a border on that left side, and I'm anchoring it with some leaves and a chipboard circle. I've kind of tucked all of the things in there that I think I'm going to use, and now I'm adding some of the butterflies. There were a lot of butterflies in this little collection, and a lot of them are teeny tiny, and I thought they were perfect little accent pieces for this layout. I did pull one of the larger ones that's with its wings folded up, and it is going to sit up there at the top of that window. I'm pretty happy with the way that this is all going in here, and I'm just kind of laying things out, trying to get them where I think they're going to end up. Still trying to use up as many of the little pieces that I pulled out of the collection to use. I also have some of these 49 Market floral flowers, and they're a lighter blue, kind of like the chipboard that I've been putting on there. But I love that color, and it just adds just a little bit of a floral element to some of the embellishments that I put on my layout. These I just got in the mail recently. If you search 49 Market on Amazon, there were some really great deals on there at one point. All right, I got my layout completely finished. I really love how this turned out. In this particular sketch, I used it as a jumping off point rather than just copying the sketch exactly. I kind of mimicked the placement of the photo on the left-hand side, but instead of putting paper in the middle, I tucked frames from this collection in it, and then I kind of just surrounded the photo with embellishments. I wanted to make sure that these floral pieces here showed up in the layout, so I turned this particular paper on its side so that the floral elements were along the outside edge in an L shape. On this side here, instead of 2 photos, of course you can see I have 4. I did put this piece of pattern paper here, and then I kind of moved things in, like she has a label kind of popping off here, and I have a label here. She had a cluster here in the middle between the 2 photos. Well, because I used 4, I moved it down and put a cluster here, and added, instead of putting banner and a cluster here, I pulled it down here. But I really took inspiration from this sketch, even if it doesn't look like it upon first glance. I want to thank you so much for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who are taking the time to like, comment, and or subscribe to my channel. That is very important to me. It is also very important to me that you check out some of the ladies on this playlist. There is room for all of the creators on YouTube. I don't think any of us are really competing against one another, and we all want to take off our crowns and tip them towards our other creators. Please leave some love on some of those other videos. If you haven't subscribed to some of them, definitely subscribe to them, because you'll be amazed at the wonderful work that everybody does. And maybe I don't have a style that you enjoy, but maybe one of my buddies does, and I know that they would love your help growing their channels as well. It's important for all of us to support one another. This world is unkind as it is, and so I think a lot of kindness happens in the scruffy world, and I just want to spread it around a little bit. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday, and I hope this week is amazing for you. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.